Hi there, and welcome to Bike File with me, Wazza. This week you join me at Brands Hatch where I've got Aprilia's RS250 to try out. As any fool knows, the simplest way to get big power out of a small engine is to use a two-stroke format. This is why so many little scooters are two strokes. It's why fearsome, fire-breathing 500cc strokers ruled the Grand Prix class for so long. And it's also why some of the maddest bikes of the last 20 years have been strokers. Tracing this hoodlum heritage, we can go from Yamaha's RD350 through Suzuki's RG500, via Kawasaki's KR1S and then Suzuki's RGV250 to bring us up to date with the bike we have here. And praise the Lord for the Italian firm's dogged persistence, because this little bike is an absolute gem. For starters, it weighs 4/5 of 6/7 of 7/10 of nothing. It is light, as in 140 kilos light, or roughly half a Honda Goldwing if you want to look at it that way. Hop aboard, close your eyes, and you could be back on a CG125 about to do your CBT. But this is where all similarities with dull, farty learner bikes begins and ends, because this bike is a classic screaming two-stroke nutcase of the highest order. More fun than a jacuzzi with atomic kitten, more addictive than Pac-Man, the little RS250 has the short-term ability to make every other bike on the planet look and feel turgid, sluggardly, and about as exciting as a wet Wednesday in Wigan. That's enough of the Aprilia RS250 for the time being, because now it's time to join Louise, who's over in Brussels.
Now, as you may remember, last week I was invited to Brussels by Honda to check out their new bikes for 2003. This week I have a word with development rider Dave Hancock about the new Honda CBR 600RR. Well, Dave, a superb looking CBR 600RR. Tell us the main modifications it's had for 2003.
Well, the new 600 is totally new, and I can honestly say there's not one nut and bolt that's the same as the current bike. It's a totally new machine. Totally new engine, chassis, all the cycle parts, suspension's all new. What it features, the main features are that the rear suspension now is similar or the same as the RCV, the racing bike of Valentino Rossi's. It features a totally new fuel tank design, which is partly in the front of the ride and partly under the seat, similar to the RCV again, very similar to that. A new exhaust system that comes out of the back of the seat. It's got roughly about 6 or 7 brake horsepower more than the current machine, and just a totally new design.
Wow. And of course the CBR's always been Honda's biggest seller, am I right? So are you hoping that this is going to obviously replace the old CBR?
Well, what we're going to do, yeah, it will do to a certain extent. We're going to continue with the CBR 600F and then run with this CBR 600RR, so you'll have two different machines really in the same sector, because there are a lot of people who still love the CBR 600 for its dual capacity, and the girlfriends and wives prefer it. I think that's the thing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, from a female point of view, I look at it and I think, it looks very appealing to me. And it's not a heavy bike. Also, the seat height is relatively low.
Yeah.
So, do you think it's going to encourage more female riders as well?
I think it will actually. Yeah, a lot of female riders have been asking for a long while for a smaller bike, and indeed the new 600 is quite a small bike to ride. So I think it will attract a lot more women or ladies to the market, really.
There's strong competition, obviously, in the 600 class, isn't there? So how do you think it's going to fare against the likes of the R6?
It's going to beat it, no problem at all.
Well, as Dave's just explained, the CBR 600 has taken its styling cues from the RCV, and here is the bike itself and the man himself. Right, tell us a bit more about the new V5 then, Dave.
Well, God, if I could have about 10 of these in my garage, I'd love it. But you couldn't really. This is the proper works machine. You couldn't really put a price on this bike. It's just a priceless piece of kit, really. But as you can see from the two variations of the road bike and the race bike, when I mentioned earlier on about the rear swinging arm, it's almost identical to the RCV. The front of the fairing shapes, two shapes there, are almost identical again. So it looks very, very similar. And what you can't see under the tank is that part of the tank on the RCV is actually under the seat, and it's the same again on the CBR 600, which means that you get a very, very compact chassis, which means we can keep the bike very small. What that also allows you to do then is, without getting too technical, there's under the tank there's an air box, which holds all the injectors, and it gives you a lot more room to put those and keep the engine further forward. There's lots of things really, but a lot of new technology from a design point of view went into the bike, and it's just, as I said earlier on, incredible that the thing just went out and won. I know I'm Honda through and through, but I'm just so proud to be associated with something like that. It's incredible.
Well, there's many admirers of the new CBR 600RR, but one person in particular, one lucky person, actually got to have a ride. The one and only Valentino Rossi.
And now we're back at Brands Hatch with the Aprilia RS250, which, quite frankly, I have been gushing about. But if it's so good, why hasn't every man and his dog got one? Well, there are a number of reasons. For starters, the Aprilia is small, and it sounds like a scooter to the uninitiated. The macho cool of a great big GSXR or a booming Ducati just isn't there with one of these. And for a lot of fashion-conscious riders, that is enough to turn them off the delights of the little Aprilia. And secondly, although most sports bikes are quite impractical, the RS250 takes it a stage further than most. It guzzles petrol, it drinks expensive fully synthetic two-stroke oil like the stuff's going out of fashion, and although you can take pillions with a conversion kit on this seat, you wouldn't really want to. They're going to ruin the bike's handling, and they'll be that uncomfortable they'll want to get off after a block. And finally, reliability ain't the greatest either. It's much better than two-strokes used to be, but even so, you'll still need plenty of fastidious servicing and pampering between your bouts of extreme thrashing if you want to keep one of these in good nick.
Get your head on the tank, get the throttle pinned and dance on that gear lever faster than Michael Flatley, and you'll be rewarded with the most intense out-of-the-crate experience on offer in biking today, and 132 mile an hour on the speedo if you hang on long enough. Get lazy, however, and you'll be left more frustrated than a teenager at the school disco. As Roy Castle would have said, dedication is what you need. The little Aprilia's chassis is as special as the motor it wraps up, and it's pure racer from start to finish. The lightweight plays a major trump card in the bike's favour, but there's no doubt the chassis is still an absolute peach that can take you to levels of late braking, hard, fast turning in and razor accuracy that will leave any four-stroke this side of Rossi's race bike feeling lazy.
That's it for part one, but please join us again in part two. Welcome back to part two.
is amazing quite how violently you can throw one of these things into a corner, and then the liberties you can get away with once you're there. You can pick the bike up or tighten your line almost by thought alone. You can carry the brakes as deep and late as you dare if you need, and you can find lean angles that defy the laws of physics. As long as you're on the right tyres, that is. Our bike's on Bridgestone 090s and they're the business. They warm up nice and quickly despite the bike not weighing all that much. They grip hard and they only move around at some very daft lean angles at the track. Even then, there's still plenty of feedback, so you're very unlikely to crash. The brakes are pretty damn good too. Again, the fact they've not much bolt to stop helps them out, but even so you can still bury the little Aprilia's front end into the tarmac as hard as you dare with no more than 2 fingers ever needed at the lever. Just remember though, if you want to make the most of all this bike has to offer, keep that motor singing like a canary. Frantic downshifting on the way into every corner is essential to keep your drive through and out the other side, and this is a tricky art to master. But get it right and oh boy are you in for some fun. What it all boils down to is, can you handle it? Can you handle a bike that doesn't wake up until the tacho's north of 8,000 revs? Can you handle not having the biggest, loudest bike in the pub car park? Can you handle 1,000 gear changes a minute? The answer to these questions is yes, then perhaps you're ready for the sublime experience that is the Aprilia RS250.
Me and the Aprilia will be back for some more hot action shortly, but in the meantime, it's time to go and join Rod.
How do you design the ultimate sports tourer? One way is to look closely at the opposition and combine the best qualities from other marques. Or you can go your own way, carving out new and radical design solutions to some of motorcycling's oldest problems. BMW have never been a company to follow the herd, and this latest K1200RS shows that when it comes to design innovation and quality of engineering, they have few peers. Not that BMW have rushed into anything with this design, you understand. The engine is a development of the original 4-cylinder K100, which first saw the light of day back in 1983. Now bored out to 1171cc and carrying 4 valves per cylinder, the DOHC fuel-injected motor produces 130 brake horsepower and 87 foot-pounds of torque. Unusually, the flat 4 design has all its cylinders on the left, the crankshaft driving through a 6-speed gearbox to a shaft final drive. BMW have now taken things a stage further by adding their radical telelever and paralever suspension systems, first seen on the Boxer twins. All this dazzling engineering has given the stylists rather a hard time. The bulbous fairing panels do a fine job of concealing the mechanics of the front suspension, but result in a dumpy, snub-nosed profile you'll either love or hate. The styling either looks super high-tech futuristic or an inspired attempt to make form follow function depending on your perspective. I do love the tail light to bits though. But where BMW really score is in their ability to understand the needs of the rider. The company practically invented the term ergonomics and have made everything but everything on this bike adjustable. The handlebars adjust back and forth, the footrests have alternate mountings, and the seat gives a choice of 2 ride heights. The screen has 2 positions, and BMW have even fitted heated grips as standard. Only Quasimodo could fail to find a combination that offers maximum rider comfort. There's a fuel gauge, a clock, a digital gear position indicator, and a warning light for everything. It even has linked brakes and ABS. The range of adjustments and accessory options mean you can really tweak this bike to meet your every need. Raise the footrests, lower the handlebars and go Sunday morning scratching. Clip the optional panniers on, raise the bars, drop the pegs and take off for a weekend in the south of France. On the road, the K1200 inspires absolute confidence. The strong Willing engine and stable geometry results in a supremely able, high-speed, long-distance tourer that's easy to handle. Open the throttle in any gear and the K1200 surges forward with a will. Keep an eye on the speedo though, because this bike will easily run up to a maximum speed in excess of 140 miles an hour and feels quite unhurried on the motorway at 120. Find an autobahn or get a good solicitor if you want to keep your licence. Marks out of 10. Performance 9. This bike is hard to fault in terms of sheer usability. The engine is strong and powerful, steering geometry is stable at all speeds, and the fully adjustable suspension is among the best you'll find anywhere. The computer-controlled linked braking system with ABS ensures rapid and safe stops under any conditions, and the bike is capable of covering huge distance at high speed in total comfort and safety. Isn't that what sports tourists should be all about? Comfort 9. With adjustable everything, you'll be hard pressed to find a combination of footrest, handlebar and seating position that doesn't suit you. I'd have liked another slightly higher screen position and a wider seat, but most normally sized people will find the comfort zone approaches nirvana. Build quality. Everything about this bike oozes quality. The engineering is first class, even down to details like the mirrors and switchgear, and finish on everything from the paintwork down to the fasteners is the best you will find anywhere. 9 out of 10 for build quality. Value for money. Including ABS, the K1200RS comes in at just over 10 grand, which pitches it squarely at the Pan-European and the FJR 1300. Worthy competitors both, but lots of punters may also be tempted away by BMW's own boxer-engined R1150 RS, a lighter, raunchier but less powerful bike which nonetheless will satisfy most needs. BMs have a reputation for reliability and durability which keeps depreciation low. All in, 8 out of 10 for value. Street cred, 6 out of 10. It's a BMW and most people will associate the badge with quality, but the styling won't suit everyone. The high quality engineering on show is unlikely to tempt sportier riders away from their R1s. This is a mature motorcycle for the mature rider and not really for posing. Buy one to ride.
BMW K1200RS. BMW's middle of the road tourer. It's not a boxer engine, it's the 4-cylinder, which I prefer. Good at high speed, good handling, even at slow speeds, and it's about 10,000 quid with ABS, which is a damn good price for a BMW with all the kit.
BMW K1200RS, big sports touring bike. BMW are notorious for making very well engineered bikes. £10,000 for a bike, maybe a little bit extra with ABS, but if that's your cup of tea, then yeah, it's a worthy investment.
Nice looking bike, 4-cylinder BMW, which is unusual for them. I quite prefer the boxers myself, like the 1150 GS. But a nice style bike, doesn't really compete with the Japanese as a bike in itself, but good ergonomics, not badly priced, nice bike really.
Performance, it's a 7 out of 10 here. This is the best bike in the world when you're going for it down a decent twisty back road or you're on the track. However, if you're a bit knackered, you're not quite in the mood and you just want to go from A to B, she's a complete pain in the bum. Street cred, it's a 7 out of 10. This bike is the coolest thing ever to those in the know and it is dripping with funky little details. However, to those a little less clued up, it just sounds like a Learner Legal 125. Build quality, it's a 6 out of 10 here. If you run one of these for a year without lavishing plenty of TLC on it, it's going to look ratty pretty quickly. Comfort, 6 out of 10. She's a lot better than you might think, but even so, she's no tourer and your pillions get a very raw deal indeed. Value, 9 out of 10. This much fun for 5.5 grand new with cheap insurance to boot should not be legal.
Aprilia RS250.
Awesome looking little two-stroker. Again, never ridden one. Supposed to be very wicked and good on the small roads and bends. Yeah, good bike.
Aprilia RS250. Good handling, very nimble, very light, ideal for the next step up from someone on the 125. Engine wise, supposed to be very good, a bit better than the 125 version. Good all-rounder.
Oh, fantastic little bike. Handles like nothing else on this world. Just slap it on its ear, down it goes, not a problem. The brakes are really, really sharp, handles really well. The only thing, the motor, you've got to rev it really hard to get anywhere. It's not my style of bike for that reason, but nice looking bike, love a go on one.
Aprilia RS250, what a machine. I think everybody's had a go on one of these bikes and everyone cannot really slate it. Power band kicks in 8,000–9,000 revs, which is just unbelievable. Makes a scream, handles superbly, the best bike possible to go on a track day or just to have some fun along the twisties. Recommend it to anybody, but it's difficult to live with.
Aprilia RS250, fantastic little bike, awesome, just if you want to learn how to ride a bike quickly, yet also safely and in control. Fantastic on track days. Unfortunately, they're a little bit hard to live with from day to day, but they're very, very rewarding and they scream like you wouldn't believe.